The clock on the wall showed 2:47 a.m. Dr. Kim Tae rubbed his tired eyes and looked at the computer screen again. The Seoul Biotech Institute was quiet at this hour. Only the soft hum of machines filled the air. Outside the window, the city buildings glowed with soft blue light. This meant most people in the area were healthy tonight. Tae had been working for 16 hours straight. His back hurt from sitting too long. His coffee had gone cold hours ago, but he could not stop. Not when he was so close to finding something. That might help his sister. Mira was 28 years old. She had been sick since birth. Her muscles were weak. Her bones broke easily. The doctors said it was in her genes. They said nothing could fix it. But Tae refused to believe that. He became a scientist to prove them wrong. Tonight he was looking at DNA samples from 50 different families. All of them had the same rare disease that Mira had. He wanted to find the exact gene that caused the problem. If he could find it, maybe he could fix it. The computer screen showed long strings of letters. A, T, G, C. These 4 letters made up all human DNA. Usually they looked random, like someone had thrown alphabet soup at the wall. But tonight, something was different. In sample number 37, Tae saw something strange. The DNA letters seemed to make a pattern. Not a random pattern. A pattern that looked almost like writing, like someone had used the DNA letters to spell out words. He leaned closer to the screen. His heart started beating faster. This was impossible. DNA did not work this way. It could not work this way. Tae ran the analysis again. The computer took 5 minutes to process the data. The same pattern appeared. In the middle of the DNA chain there was a sequence that looked like Korean letters mixed with numbers. He printed out the results and spread the papers on his desk. Under the bright lab lights he could see it clearly now. The sequence read like code, but not computer code. Something else. Something that seemed to say, Subject 37, enhanced memory, artistic ability, leadership potential. Tae's hands shook as he reached for his phone. He needed to call someone. But who would believe this? Who would understand? He thought of Lee Hana. She used to be a computer hacker before she came to work at the institute. She was the smartest person he knew when it came to finding hidden patterns in data. If anyone could help him understand this, it would be her. The phone rang 3 times before Hana answered. Her voice was sleepy and confused. Tae? Do you know what time it is? Hana, I need you to come to the lab. Right now. I found something impossible. What are you talking about? It's almost 3 in the morning. Please, trust me. This is bigger than anything we have ever seen. Bring your best computer equipment. There was silence on the phone. Then, Hana sighed. Okay, give me 20 minutes. While he waited, Tae ran more tests. He checked samples from healthy people. Most of them showed normal random DNA patterns. But in a few samples he found the same strange writing. Always in people who had become famous or successful. Scientists, artists, business leaders, politicians. The bo pattern was always the same. Hidden sequences that looked like instructions written in DNA code. Instructions about what kind of person they should become. Hana arrived wearing jeans and a lab coat over her pajama shirt. Her black hair was tied back in a messy ponytail. She carried 2 large computer cases. This better be good, Tae. I was having the best dream about finally beating level 9 of Quantum Quest. Tae showed her the computer screen. He explained what he had found. At first Hana looked skeptical, then interested, then amazed. Show me the raw data, she said. For the next 2 hours they worked together. Hana used her special programs to analyze the DNA sequences. She found patterns that Tae had missed, hidden layers of code within the code. Tae, she said quietly, this is not natural. Someone put this here. Someone wrote instructions into human DNA. That's impossible. No one has that kind of technology. Look at this. Hana pointed to her screen. The writing style is consistent across all samples. Same structure, same mathematical base. But the content is different for each person. It's like someone is designing people, deciding what they will be good at, what they will do with their lives. Tae felt cold despite the warm lab. How long has this been happening? I ran a database search. I found records going back 50 years, maybe longer. The oldest sample I can confirm is from 1987, but the writing style suggests it started much earlier. They sat in silence for a moment. The weight of the discovery settled on them like a heavy blanket. We need to run more tests, Tay said finally. We need to check our own DNA. Hana nodded. They each gave a blood sample. The computer processed their DNA while they waited. Tay paced around the lab. Hana sat very still, staring at the wall. The results came back. Hana's DNA was normal, random patterns like most people. But Tay's DNA showed the same strange writing. The sequence was longer and more complex than the others they had seen. It read like a story about a boy who would lose someone important to genetic disease, a boy who would become a scientist to find cures, a boy who would discover the truth about human DNA and change the world. Tay, Hana whispered, your whole life has been written in your genes. Everything you have done, everything you are doing now, it was planned. Tay stared at his genetic code on the screen, his entire existence reduced to letters and instructions. He thought about his sister. Was her disease part of the plan too? Was her suffering just another line of code in someone else's program? A sound from the hallway made them both freeze. Footsteps, heavy boots on the tile floor. The security guard made rounds every hour, but it was too early for the next one. Hana quickly saved all their data to an encrypted drive. Tay gathered the printed papers and hid them in his desk drawer. The footsteps stopped outside their lab. Someone was coming. Someone who might not want them to know the truth about human DNA. Their discovery had put them in danger. The real question was, who had been writing humanity's story in their genes? And what did they want with people? Like Tay, the door handle began to turn. The door opened slowly. Tay and Hana held their breath. A security guard stepped into the lab. His flashlight beam swept across the room. Dr. Kim, what are you doing here so late? Tay felt relief wash over him. It was just Mr. O, the night security guard. He had worked at the institute for 10 years. He knew all the researchers who stayed late. Working on a project, Mr. O. You know how it is. The old guard smiled. You work too hard, Doctor. Go home and get some sleep. The lab will still be here tomorrow. After Mr. O left, Tay and Hana sat quietly for several minutes. The fear had made them both realize how dangerous their discovery could be. If the wrong people found out about the DNA writing, bad things might happen. We need help, Hana said. We cannot do this alone. Tay thought about who they could trust. Most of his colleagues would think he was crazy, but there was one person who might believe them. His childhood friend, Park Jin, was a detective with the Seoul police. He investigated unusual crimes, things that other detectives could not explain. He had a good mind for puzzles and mysteries. More importantly, he had known Tay since they were children. He would listen. The next morning, Tay called Jin and asked him to meet for lunch. They chose a small restaurant away from the institute, the kind of place where they could talk without being overheard. Jin arrived wearing his usual dark suit. He was a tall man with kind eyes and careful hands. He had been a good friend for 20 years. He knew about Mira's illness. He knew how hard Tay had worked to find a cure. You look terrible, Jin said as he sat down. When did you last sleep? Sleep is not important right now. Jin, I need to tell you something that will sound impossible. Tay explained everything. The DNA patterns, the hidden writing, the instructions that seemed to control people's lives. Jin listened without interrupting. His detective training had taught him to hear the whole story before making judgments. Show me, Jin said finally. They went back to the institute. Hana was already there working with new equipment she had brought from home. Her computers filled an entire table, cables and screens everywhere. I have been busy, she told them. I found more patterns, much more. On her main screen, she showed them a map of Seoul. Red dots marked locations all over the city. Each dot represented a person with the strange DNA writing. There are thousands of them, Hana said. I hacked into the National Genetic Database. 3% of the population has these artificial sequences. But here is the interesting part. Look at what jobs these people have. She clicked on different dots. Each one showed a person's information. Scientists, teachers, doctors, artists, business leaders, politicians, all successful people, all making important contributions to society. It is like someone is designing the perfect civilization, Jin said, choosing who will be smart, who will be creative, who will lead. But who? Tay asked. Who has this technology? Who has been doing this for decades? Hana pulled up another screen. I traced the oldest samples I could find. The patterns go back at least 50 years, maybe more. But the writing style has changed over time. It has become more sophisticated. Like whoever is doing this is learning and improving. Jin studied the data with his detective eyes. Have you noticed any patterns in timing? When do these people get their special DNA? That is the strange part, Hana said. It happens before birth. The writing is in their genes from the beginning. Their parents do not have it. Only the children. This information made Tay think of something important. Jin, in your police work, have you seen any cases involving people with unusual abilities? People who seemed too smart or too talented for normal humans? Jin was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. Actually, yes. Last month we had a case. A young woman who could solve any computer security system in minutes. She helped us catch a major criminal. But when we tested her, she had no formal training. She said she just knew how to do it. Do you have her DNA on file? We have samples from everyone who helps with police cases. Give me an hour. Jin made some phone calls. He used his police connections to get genetic information without raising suspicions. When the results came back, they confirmed what Ty expected. The woman had the DNA writing. Her genetic code included instructions about computer skills and logical thinking. This is bigger than we thought, Jin said. If these people are being used by police, military, government, they could be everywhere, in positions of power and influence. Over the next few days, they worked together to map the full extent of the genetic writing. Hana's computer skills, Jin's police access, and Ty's scientific knowledge made a powerful team. They discovered that the written DNA followed certain patterns. Like a language, the sequences used combinations that looked like ancient Korean script mixed with mathematical formulas, but some symbols did not match any human writing system. Look at this, Hana said, pointing to a complex sequence. This part appears in every sample. It is like a signature. Someone is signing their work. The signature was unlike anything they had seen before. It used symbols that seemed too advanced for human knowledge, mathematical concepts that were beyond current science. What if, Tay said quietly, what if the writers are not human? The question hung in the air like smoke. None of them wanted to say what they were all thinking, but the evidence was pointing in only one direction. That evening, Tay went home to see Mira. She lived in a small apartment near the art district, her walls covered with her paintings and digital artworks, bright colors and strange shapes that seemed to move when you looked at them. You look worried, brother, she said as she made tea for both of them. Tay studied her artwork more carefully than usual. For the first time, he noticed patterns, symbols that looked familiar, shapes that reminded him of the DNA sequences he had been studying. Mira, where do you get ideas for your art? She smiled and touched her temple. They just come to me, like dreams, but when I am awake. I see colors and shapes that do not exist in the real world. I paint them to make them real. Tay felt a chill run down his spine. Mira's genetic disease might not be a mistake. It might be an incomplete version of the DNA writing. Her artistic visions might be messages from whoever was writing human genetics. Have you always seen these things? Since I was a child. The doctors said it was because of my illness. Hallucinations caused by my weak brain. But they feel more real than reality. That night, Tay could not sleep. He lay in bed thinking about everything they had discovered. Someone or something had been editing human DNA for decades, creating people with special abilities. guiding human civilization in a specific direction. But why? What was the purpose? And what would happen when the writers decided they were finished? His phone buzzed with a text message from Jin. Emergency, 3 people from our list have disappeared, all taken from their homes tonight. We need to meet now. The investigation had taken a dangerous turn. Tae met Jin at a 24-hour coffee shop downtown. The place was nearly empty at 4 in the morning. Only a few late-night workers and early morning commuters sat at scattered tables. Jin looked worried and tired. "Tell me what happened," Tae said, as he sat down. Jin opened a folder full of photos and reports. 3 people from our DNA list disappeared last night, all taken from their homes between midnight and 3 a.m. No signs of struggle, no witnesses, like they just vanished. The photos showed empty bedrooms and living rooms. Everything looked normal except the people were gone. Clothes still in closets, food still on kitchen counters, even pets were left behind. "Who were they?" Tae asked. "A music composer, a computer programmer, and a medical researcher. All young, all successful in their fields, all had the special DNA writing." Tae felt sick to his stomach. The people taking others knew about the genetic modifications. They were targeting specific individuals for a reason. "We need to warn Hana," Tae said. "If they know about our research, she could be next." They drove quickly to the institute, but when they arrived, Hana's lab was empty. Her computers were gone. Her personal items were missing. Only a small note remained on her desk. "Gone to find the source. We'll contact you when safe. Trust no one at the institute." Jin examined the lab with his detective skills. She left on her own. No signs of force. But she was in a hurry. Tae's phone rang. Unknown number. "Dr. Kim." A woman's voice said. "My name is Dr. Yang Soo. I worked with your father 20 years ago. We need to meet. I have information about what you discovered." "How do you know about my research?" "Because I have been studying the same thing for much longer than you." "Meet me at the old university library, 3rd floor. Come alone, but bring your detective friend. You will need him." The call ended before Tae could ask more questions. Dr. Yang Soo was a small, elderly woman with silver hair and sharp eyes. She wore an old lab coat over simple clothes. She had been waiting for them in the library's science section, surrounded by tall shelves of dusty books. "I wondered when someone would finally see the patterns," she said when they approached. "Your father was close to discovering it 20 years ago. That is why he had to stop his research." "You knew my father?" "We worked together on the first genetic mapping project in Korea. We found things that were not supposed to exist, things that frightened the government and the military." Dr. Yang led them to a hidden room behind the old card catalogs. The room was filled with research equipment and files. Decades of secret work. "I have been tracking the DNA modifications for 30 years, she said. "I know who is doing it, and why." She showed them files full of data and photographs. Images of strange lights in the sky, reports of unusual encounters, genetic samples that defied explanation. "The modifications are not from Earth," Dr. Yang said quietly. "We are being visited by beings from another world. They have been changing human genetics for generations, not to harm us, but to help us." Tae stared at the files. Everything they had discovered suddenly made sense. The advanced mathematical concepts, the non-human symbols, the systematic improvement of human abilities. "Aliens," Jin said. "You are talking about aliens. Beings from a civilization much older than ours. They have been guiding human development for centuries, making us smarter, more creative, better, able to solve problems, preparing us for something." "Preparing us for what?" Dr. Yang pulled out a star chart covered with markings and calculations. "In approximately 50 years, Earth will face a cosmic event, something that could destroy our planet. These beings are trying to ensure humanity is advanced enough to survive." The information was overwhelming. Tae sat down heavily in a chair. Everything he had believed about human evolution and development was wrong. Humanity had been receiving help all along. Why the secrecy? He asked. Why not just make contact openly? Because most humans are not ready. Fear and panic would cause more harm than good. So they work slowly, carefully, one generation at a time. Jin studied the documents with his analytical mind. But someone else knows about this. Someone is taking the modified people. Are they trying to stop the aliens? Dr. Yang nodded sadly. A government organization called the Natural Human Project. They believe humanity should develop without outside influence. They have been capturing modified individuals for study and elimination. That is who took the 3 people last night, Jin realized. And they know about your research. All of you are in danger now. As if summoned by her words, black vehicles surrounded the library outside. Men in dark suits got out and moved toward the building entrances. They found us, Dr. Yang said. There is another way out, follow me. She led them through underground tunnels that connected the old university buildings. The tunnels were dark and cold, lit only by emergency lights. Where are we going? Tai asked as they walked quickly through the narrow passages. To meet someone who can explain everything better than I can. Someone who has been waiting to speak with humans like you. They emerged from the tunnels near the city's botanical gardens. The early morning sun was just rising, casting long shadows between the trees. Dr. Yang led them to a greenhouse filled with unusual plants. The being I am about to introduce you to has been living on Earth for 20 years, she said. It volunteered to stay behind to monitor the genetic project and make contact when the time was right. Inside the greenhouse, among plants that seemed to glow with their own light, stood a figure that was almost human but not quite, taller than normal, with longer limbs and larger eyes. Its skin had a slight silver tint that reflected the morning light. Dr. Kim Tae, the being said in perfect Korean. We have been waiting for you to discover our work. Your genetic pattern was designed specifically for this moment. Tae could barely speak. You wrote my DNA, you planned my entire life. We guided your development, yes, but your choices were always your own. We simply gave you the tools you would need to help your species when the time came. What do you want from us? We want to offer humanity a choice. Accept our help to face the coming cosmic event together, or try to survive it alone. But first, you must help us stop those who would destroy the bridge we have built between our peoples. Through the greenhouse windows, Tae could see the black vehicles approaching. The Natural Human Project had found them again. They want to eliminate everyone with modified genetics, the being said. Including your sister. Her artistic visions are not random. She's been receiving important information that humanity will need. The choice was clear. Help the aliens protect the genetically modified humans or watch as humanity's best hope for survival was destroyed by fear and ignorance. The greenhouse door burst open. Armed men entered, weapons drawn. It was time to choose humanity's future. The armed men entered the greenhouse with their weapons ready. But something strange happened. The plants around them began to glow brighter. The air filled with a soft humming sound. The men stopped moving, as if frozen in time. Do not worry, the alien being said calmly. They are not harmed. The plants here produce a natural defense that slows human brain activity. They will sleep for several hours. Tae stared at the motionless figures. Are all the plants here from your world? Some are native to Earth. Others we brought to help clean your air and water. We have been working quietly to heal your planet while preparing your people. Dr. Yang checked her watch. More agents will come soon. We need to move to a safer location. The alien touched a device on its wrist. Within minutes, a vehicle arrived that looked almost normal except for its complete silence and strange blue glow from underneath. This will take us to our main facility, the being explained as they got into the vehicle. There you will meet others of my kind and see the full scope of our project. As they traveled through Seoul, Tae noticed how many buildings had the same soft glow he had seen on the alien plants. The city was more connected to the alien presence than anyone realized. The facility was hidden beneath the Han River. What looked like a water treatment plant from the surface was actually an entrance to an underground complex. The technology inside was unlike anything Tai had ever seen. walls that seemed to be made of living light, computers that responded to thought rather than touch. 5 other alien beings were waiting for them. They all looked similar to the first one, but with small differences in height and skin patterns. They moved with grace and purpose like dancers who had practiced the same routine for years. Dr. Kim Tae, one of them said, "We apologize for the secrecy, but your species has not been ready for open contact. Even now, many of your people would react with fear and violence." "Why did you choose to help us?" Tae asked. "Because we see potential in humanity that you do not see in yourselves. Your creativity, your ability to love, your determination to protect each other. These qualities are rare in the universe." They showed him images of other worlds, planets where civilizations had failed to develop these qualities and had destroyed themselves, worlds that were now empty and silent. "The cosmic event approaching Earth is a natural phenomenon," another alien explained. "A wave of energy that passes through this region of space every 10,000 years. Most civilizations cannot survive it without help." "What kind of help?" "Enhanced genetics allow better radiation resistance and faster healing. Improved brain function helps solve complex problems quickly. Stronger social bonds prevent panic and chaos." Tae thought about all the genetically modified people he had studied. The scientists, artists, leaders. They were not just individuals with special abilities. They were humanity's survival team. "But some humans oppose this help," Jin said. "They want to eliminate the modified people." "Yes, they call themselves the Natural Human Project. They believe genetic purity is more important than survival. They do not understand that evolution sometimes needs guidance." Dr. Yang stepped forward. "The aliens need our help to protect the modified individuals, but they also want to offer humanity a choice about the future." The lead alien activated a large display that showed Earth from space. Bright dots marked the locations of all genetically modified humans around the planet. "We can complete the genetic modifications for all humans," it said. "This would give your entire species the abilities needed to survive the cosmic event. But it would change what it means to be human." "What is the alternative?" Tae asked. "We provide knowledge and technology, but you remain genetically unchanged. You would have to build your own defenses against the cosmic event. Many more would die, but those who survive would still be purely human." The choice was enormous. Change human nature to ensure survival, or preserve humanity's original form and risk extinction. "How long do we have to decide?" "The cosmic event will reach Earth in 47 years, but the decision must be made soon. The genetic modifications take time to spread through the population." Suddenly, alarms began ringing throughout the facility. One of the aliens checked a display that showed the surface above them. "The Natural Human Project has found us. They are bringing military forces." Through the facility's monitors, Tae could see helicopters and armored vehicles surrounding the fake water treatment plant. Hundreds of soldiers were preparing to enter. "They plan to destroy this facility and eliminate all evidence of our presence," the lead alien said. "Including all of you." "Can you defend against them?" Jin asked. "We could, but it would mean revealing our full capabilities to your world. Many humans would see us as invaders rather than helpers. The fear and conflict that followed might make survival impossible even with genetic enhancements." Tae realized this was the moment everything had been leading to. His entire life, written in his genes, had prepared him for this decision, not just for himself but for all humanity. "What if we found a third option?" he said. "What if some humans accepted the genetic changes while others remained natural? Could both groups survive?" The aliens looked at each other with expressions that seemed almost human, hope mixed with uncertainty. "It is possible," one said finally. "The modified humans could help protect and support the natural ones, like a bridge between what humanity was and what it could become. But both groups would need to work together," another added. "No more trying to eliminate each other." The sounds of drilling came from above. The soldiers were trying to break through to the underground facility. "We need to get this information to the world," Tae said. "People need to know the truth so they can make their own choices." Hana's voice came through the facility's communication system. Tay, can you hear me? I am broadcasting from the main Seoul news station. I have been showing people the evidence about genetic modifications and the cosmic threat. On the displays, they could see news reports from around the world. People gathering in streets and squares, discussing what they had learned. Scientists confirming the evidence. Leaders calling for calm and rational decisions. The secret is out, Dr. Yang said with relief. Now humanity can choose its future with full knowledge. The lead alien smiled, an expression that looked strange but warm on its non-human features. Perhaps your species is more ready than we thought. The ability to share important information quickly and work together in crisis, these are the qualities that convinced us to help you. The drilling sounds stopped. Through the monitors, they could see the military forces receiving new orders and beginning to withdraw. What happens now? Tay asked. Now we begin the real work, the alien replied. Building a future where both forms of humanity can thrive. Modified and natural, alien and human, all working together to survive what is coming. Tay thought about his sister Mira and her artistic visions of the future. Perhaps she had been seeing this all along, a world where different kinds of beings lived and worked side by side, each contributing their unique abilities to the whole. The story of humanity's DNA was being rewritten, but for the first time humans were helping to write it themselves. The future was no longer predetermined, it was a choice, and humanity was finally ready to make it together.